hopeful that Aaron Rodgers would be gone and to be over and he could just glide into
what's
retirement.
the story there?
Well, here we go. There's chatter now, according to multiple reports, that Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers could be joining forces. The latest report indicates Rodgers is seriously considering returning, and the odds are increasing that he returns with the Steelers. I don't understand where this is coming from. Now, is your guess this is McCarthy's camp or Rodgers'
Well,
camp?
it depends. Do you trust Will Howard? Do you think Will Howard is good enough for a year? Because I think Mike McCarthy, with some of their weapons, I think Will Howard, if he can play, and that's up to McCarthy, they haven't seen him. I don't think it's about Aaron.
Yeah.
I think if you think Will Howard is worth 15 starts, 16 starts, let's see if the kid can play.
Yeah.
I think you go for it.
I think you got to see what these young guys have. Now, we got stats for Rodgers the last 2 years, one with the Jets, one with the Steelers. And surprisingly, when you cherry pick these stats, he's not awful. Right
No.
now, if you look at some advanced metrics, he falls down because he can't run. He's immobile.
And he does not throw a lot of picks. He never has.
Didn't have the greatest weapons in Pittsburgh. I know you like them, but like on the outside, they don't have a top 10 receiver.
I thought Aaron got rid of all the chaos. I didn't think Pittsburgh was a smart offense the last 6-7 years. I thought Aaron made the offense smarter and eliminated turnovers. I thought Aaron had all things considered, a very strong year.
So somewhere, Arthur Smith, probably Columbus, Ohio, Arthur Smith is like, hey, can I get some credit for that? Because he obviously was the offensive coordinator. I just don't know what to make of Rodgers at this point, Colin. Like, at some point, you've got to reboot. You can't just let's just keep Rodgers. Like, why don't you just rip the Band-Aid off and move on?
Okay, I get it. You don't like Aaron Rodgers. I get it. I mean, listen, it's always interesting when you have these conversations post-Super Bowl because you're like, look at the team that just won the Super Bowl. How did they get there? What did they do? What decisions did they make? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you look at the Steelers and you say, rip the Band-Aid off. And it's like, for what, though? If you're going to be developing a quarterback who you think can be the starter, well, then it would be great to bring in Aaron there again, have them continue to work, develop, have some success, and you continue to retool. And then when it's time for Aaron to leave, he leaves. And now, if you believe that you now have that quarterback in the wings ready to go, you essentially do exactly what the Green Bay Packers did. I mean, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with that at all. You're also going to be trusting. This is why you hired Mike McCarthy. You believe that he will elevate this offense, as he's shown to be able to do in Green Bay and in Dallas, that this offense will be more smoothly run, more elevated. And you combine that now with an actual veteran quarterback. Well, then yeah, that's an exciting prospect. So it's actually kind of interesting here when you think about it, because Colin has gone on and on and on about how dated the Steelers are and how they spend so much money on defense and this or that, and it's like, the problem isn't that they spend too much money on their defense. The pro and not enough on their offense. Their problem was that their defense never truly rose to the occasion in these gotta have it moments in these big time playoff games, like we saw the Seahawks do against the Patriots, like we saw the Eagles do against the Chiefs these last two Super Bowl wins. We see the defense rise to the occasion the year before that. The defense rose to the occasion against Brock Purdy and bailed out Patrick Mahomes after he threw an interception and didn't give up any points. And so it's just like the problem wasn't just, well, they spent too much money here or they couldn't find their quarterback. That's all part of it. But they also just didn't get it done. They just simply were not good enough on both sides of the ball. And so I do think I do believe that there's tremendous value in bringing back an Aaron Rodgers. You have Mike McCarthy. Now, it's not like McCarthy is a brand new coach where he needs to figure out how to be a head coach. So trying to keep things simple or easier for him is not the most important thing to do. But I still think that if you do bring in a McCarthy, you keep in an Aaron, obviously an elite seasoned veteran quarterback, you make some right moves in free agency, as well as the draft, you have a lot of stability, but stability in a different way than what Tomlin brought. Tomlin brought more of an elevated floor rather than maybe stability. You bring in some stability here and you elevate. You could be in a situation where if your defense does a good enough job that Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers now can find their way through a win against, say, the Houston Techs, can can find themselves in a conference championship or something. But yeah, the big question mark is how much juice does Aaron Rodgers have left? That's a question mark for sure. That's that's a question mark for sure. And this is an older team, especially defensively, and it's not a great receiving court. But like that's the thing too though. If you're like, hey, you know what? This defense is good enough. We're actually going to go more Allen on offense. The floor is good enough for the defense. We are going to go out and get so and so and draft here. And, you know, it's like, okay, then perfect. Especially if you draft offensively or you get some good young offensive talent. You have him working with Mike McCarthy and the seasoned veteran of Aaron. You even if you're not going to maximize with Aaron, you're getting that receiver. Let's say they draft a receiver, which I'm not saying they are, but let's just say they draft a receiver first round. You know, their number one pick. Even though Aaron is obviously not the best version of himself right now, having that receiver work with Aaron for a year is worth its weight in gold. It's worth its weight in gold. It just absolutely positively is. So then, even then, in the next year, when it's time to move on from Aaron, now you got year 2 with John Smith. John Smith is going to be significantly better for playing that season with Aaron, just listening to him, working with him, having the discussions, than working with a first-year quarterback who's trying to figure out what the heck do I even do in the NFL. It's just that straightforward. It's just that simple. It really is. So I even like the idea then of them going all in offensively, bringing in a lot of this young talent and being like, Aaron, this year is not necessarily about us trying to win a Super Bowl. This year is about you working with this talent, helping them be the best versions of themselves, and moving on from there. I think that's a very viable path as well. But that's where you have to just see what type of moves they do and how much juice Aaron has, because if Aaron is still good enough, still great enough right now, and then you do kind of get caught where you're like, all right, do we look for other veterans, etc., which is, we know that's what essentially the Steelers kind of did this past year and whatnot. But they didn't do enough offensively. Quite frankly, when you, with the hindsight, it's like if you kept DK and George Pickens, it's like, all right, Aaron Rodgers could have really let this ball sling all over the field. You're like, all right, would have also opened up the run game more. So it's just like would have taken some pressure off of the pass rush, the pass rushing, pass blocking. And so there are interesting moves to make, but that is where you do trust Mike McCarthy's vision and the conversations that he's going to have with Aaron Rodgers. Like, so I do see multiple paths that they can take, but we don't have enough of the answers to know what would be the best path. If Aaron's got a lot of juice left and you believe, or enough, I should say, and you're trusting Mike McCarthy's vision to pull a little bit over here, to pull a little bit over there, it's like, all right, maybe you can go on a run. If not, then I still see the value in keeping Aaron. And it's not a matter of ripping the Band-Aid off. It's like, no, we're using Aaron as a bridge quarterback. That's why you have a bridge quarterback. You're kind of still reworking the roster, developing some of the young talent, getting everything situated, buying yourself a second, but you're still kind of having this bridge quarterback who now, they're obviously not like a coach on the field necessarily, although Aaron will be way more of a coach on the field than your typical bridge quarterback. Like someone sees like a M. Jones as a bridge quarterback or something, it's not going to be the same as if it's Aaron, but you're still able to develop some of these other younger talent. That is really, really important. It's why you're willing to pay for a bridge quarterback $20 million or, whatever the going rate might be, rather than just being like, why don't we just throw some rookie out there, have him be terrible, and then we'll be, we'll tank and then we'll get a top pick. It's like, well, because it's really hard for the rest of the roster to be successful, to look good, to develop and become better players and get like actual high quality experience. So that's why I'm saying at the bare minimum, you get that with Aaron, and you also get all the neck up stuff as well, which is invaluable. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you think they should have a reunion with McCarthy and Aaron? If you're a Steelers fan, do you want Aaron to come back? What path, what route do you want them to take? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get to some discussions. Let's get to some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.